Well, hello, Karen.
Hello.
This is wonderful. It's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for coming. We are also joined by our cat, Remy, at the moment, who has decided to join the interview today. So, first of all, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse a really long time, and I currently work at Manchester Met Uni, so I have the privilege of being a senior lecturer there. So, not been actively nursing for quite some time, but yeah, so that's what I do. Work-wise, I'm a mum. I've got 2 grown-up kids. I've got a son who lives locally, and my daughter, Cara, in Bath. So I was always taken to church as a child. Went to Sunday school, did brownies, guides, Girls Brigade. Helped at Sunday school when I was a teenager. So was always aware of God. Was aware of, like, I'd been to church lots. It was a very comfortable place. But like lots of people, it wasn't really my faith, and clearly didn't have a full grasp of everything. And then again, like lots of teenagers, decided I wasn't totally sure about it all. And I never stopped believing God existed, but I have a clear memory through my teenage years not really being sure about Jesus. And then during my A-levels, my sister went to uni and became a Christian, and she would talk to me lots, and she would try and tell me all about who Jesus was and try to give me little things to read. I wasn't really having much of it. And then I started going along to Altrincham Baptist Church at the time. So then I went along sometimes with my sister, sometimes on my own. Always bolted at the end of the service, even when they did a call and my little heart was thumping. I just ran out of the back of church, did nothing. And then in year 13, my grandpa got really sick, and my grandparents came to live with us. So that was a really hard year, and I really didn't do very well in that year. And then just after my A-levels, he died. And so I really struggled. So I didn't go to uni. I rejected my place, and I stayed home for a year and worked. God, made my heart pound. And then went to New Zealand, decided I was going to travel. So I went there, and then I sat on the plane and suddenly felt really scared. So all this false confidence I'd had that I was going to do this trip disappeared. And at that moment, I remember praying, like properly praying, really selfish prayers, like help me get through this flight and get there and be okay. I guess over that 24, 36 hours, I did a lot of praying, and God just seemed to start to do something in me from that moment. So I suppose the first time I probably really remember hearing God speak to me was as we were flying into New Zealand, and we were coming over the Southern Alps, which are spectacular beyond words. And at that moment, I just heard what I now know would be God's voice, but didn't recognise it. And it was this little whisper saying, I made that. And I was like, oh. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I did lots of travelling around New Zealand, and I just saw lots of things that blew me away, like beauty that you just can't describe. And every different thing from rainforests to volcanoes that were smoking to glaciers, just kept feeling this little voice going, I made that and that and that. And then on this trip I was doing, there was lots of like quiet time. I was just on my own. So I just felt God just was processing stuff with me, lots of stuff from my life, from my childhood. So that was kind of part of the journey. And then just before I came home from New Zealand, I started to read The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And from this outset, I could see the parallels. It was when Edmund was supposed to go down, and Aslan went instead. Sorry, it makes me really emotional. And at that moment, in the middle of the night, I was like, yeah, Jesus is real. And that's what he did. So yeah, that was how I met Jesus, and I just cried my heart out in my bed that night.
I love that you met him through Aslan.
Yeah.
I'm sure C.S. Lewis would be overjoyed.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so how would you say that your faith affects your life now?
In every way. You're just never alone. You just know you never have something happen to you that you can't cope with. It's just always God's there. It's always with you. So I guess for me in my life, everyday life, I'd describe God as, I guess, in no particular order, like my hope, my strength. Like he helps me, sustains me through things that I think are really hard and really difficult. He's like my protector. I like been through lots of different things in my adult life that have been really tough. And he's just there, like, I suppose almost like hemming you in to keep you safe. He's like a rock. You just stand. He's like, I suppose I'm quite visual. I suppose I imagine God as almost like my rock that I stand on. He's like the foundations of everything. She just like guides your decisions, keeps you steady in your emotions so that you don't just fall apart.
Nursing is an incredibly tough job. So how do you feel like God supported you through that? How did your faith affect your job in that, would you say?
When I was nursing with patients, you're being paid to do something really privileged, which is care for people when they're at their most vulnerable or they're most scared, or the extremes of people's lives, whether that's the extreme joy or the extreme pain, or so it just reminds you that you're really privileged to be paid to be part of people's life journeys. But also when I was nursing, it gave me the opportunity to pray for a lot of people. And whilst they didn't know about it, prayed for hundreds of people, which again is a real privilege. And now I guess I feel like in my current job teaching, I'd like to think that like my Christian faith and like God's values come across to the students, just in how you teach about people and how you teach about how we should interact with people and respect people, and I guess just always strive to do everything you can to help somebody else's life journey be better than it is, and always be looking to meet the needs of the most vulnerable. I guess I'm not sure if that's answered the question, but I guess that's for me professionally how I try and bring my faith into what I do, and how I feel Jesus motivates me, kind of like keeps you going if you're feeling a bit tired.
Thank you so much, Karen. That was really wonderful to hear from you, and really interesting, some insights there from you. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.